Um, Welcome. This is the third part, the six teaching models or the six models of co-teaching. This is from a paper, I think it was Lynn and Cook. They defined it as there were six different ways you could teach in the co-teaching space, um, and they grouped them into six. Some people have grouped them into five, some people seven. I've just used this six. It's sort of this was the first text, I guess. So um, most people follow these six methods. And this is something that's really important to understand before we go into that class, before we go into that space. Which of these six models are you going to use for that lesson today? And it might be for some section of that lesson, what are the models that you're going to be, or what is the co teaching model that you're going to be using for maybe the middle 20 minutes or the middle 30 minutes, but it really needs to be done before the lesson starts. So, um, just before we start, maybe as a faculty, especially if you're doing this as a faculty, what is co-teaching? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And what is not co-teaching? So maybe individually or in pairs, write a definition as to what you believe co-teaching to be and what it is definitely not. Stop the video, have a 2 or 3 minute discussion, maybe write some stuff down on what you believe co-teaching looks like and feels like. Thanks. Okay, hopefully that's allowed a little bit of discussion of what it does and what it feels like. As I said, Lynn and Cook, or Friend and Lynn, this is how they define co-teaching. Um, as the parent of two teachers in the classroom, to share the responsibility of preparing, delivering, and assessing the learning outcomes of all students. In the co teaching environment, both teachers are equally responsible for all facets of the teaching learning experience. It's a fairly long winded definition, but it's about that equality of and responsibility for all facets of the teaching learning experience, I think, is the important part there. So there's six different teaching models that they came up with: one teach, one observe, station teaching, parallel teaching, alternate teaching, teaming, and one teach, one assist. And there's sort of little structure models, I guess, of the six different or little pictorial models of what's happening in each one. Um, Co-teaching is definitely not one person doing all the work. One person doing all the work and one person being a traffic cop constantly. That is not co-teaching. That is not about building the capacity of both teachers in the room. That is something totally different. I don't know what that is, but it's not good. Both teachers must have equal power, and students need to see this balance of power. What they perceive is what is reality. If they perceive that one teacher is the controlling body, that is the reality sometimes. Perception becomes reality. So one teacher, one observes. So one teacher can instruct the lesson while the other observes. And what that observation looks like could be different. Maybe they're looking for excellent solutions. They're looking for student engagement. Maybe it's classroom behaviour. It doesn't always have to be classroom behaviour, though. It might be that other teacher is looking for excellent solutions to extend the learning of everybody in the class. This is the way Melissa did it. Melissa, can you stand up and show everybody or explain to everybody how you did it? Maybe the other teacher is gathering data about the students. Well, those students knew that work really well before we even started. We wasted time there. Maybe they're looking at the pedagogy or how much students are engaged. This group over here, they weren't engaged. There was no leaning in when they were working as a group. Um, or maybe they're just writing down students' questions, so to lead the discussion later on. Or maybe they're there observing how much deep deep questions. Were all the questions that you asked surface level, or all the questions you asked at a deep level? Um, it's very freeing when one teacher and one is observing and not focused on all the other admin stuff to chime in every now and again with those really deep questions. Um, Team teaching, this is two people at the front. It can happen, so both teachers at the front. Most teachers feel this is the most energizing way. It could be that one teacher takes the lead while the other asks all those deep questions we wish students would ask, you know. One teacher explains it, and if the students aren't asking those really intelligent, deep, thought-provoking questions, the other teacher can. Oh, but would this always work? Oh, can we generalize this to other solutions? What if this was the case? Would it work in this case? That rule about Pythagoras, would it work for all triangles? Why would it work for all right-angled triangles? Surely it doesn't work for all right-angled triangles. All those little questions that it can extend the learning of others. Station teaching, and maybe this is the case that you've got the two teachers. One teacher could be doing something, the other teacher something else, and then the teachers swap. You don't have to get the students to get up and move. The teachers might swap. Maybe one teacher's doing some surface level work or talking about the procedure. The other teacher is doing some problem solving or a problem activity, and at some point the teachers swap. You know, don't get the 30 kids to move. That's going to take 10 minutes. Get the teachers to swap. So station teaching, and it could, you could have 3 stations in the room. It could be, there's some flipped learning going on, there's some direct teaching going on, and there's some problem solving, and the students are rotating around there. So station teaching. Alternative teaching is similar to parallel teaching, which we'll get to next, except the two groups are split strategically for academic reasons. It might be that one, if you're doing adding of fractions and 80% of the class don't know what they're doing really, really effectively, but 20% really do, then one teacher might take that 20% and extend them. It's fantastic for differentiation, and the other teacher can work with the bulk of the class. So it might be to extend students. It might be to work with the weaker students. It shouldn't be always the same. It shouldn't be always the same teacher with the small group and the other teacher with the large group. It could be just different pedagogies. What one person is going to use this sort of pedagogy, one person is going to use this. So we'll split the kids up in that way. So both teachers doing pretty much the same work at the same time, but to different students, and the split is strategically done for academic reasons. Parallel teaching is the most like two teachers teaching 2 classes in the one space. One person up one end, one person in another space. The co-teachers prepare the work together and each teacher instructs their half of the class. It's the most like teaching 2 classes in one space. The drawback is that it feels exactly like that. It feels like 2 teachers are in the class, in the space, teaching their own class, just talking quietly and trying not to disrupt the other class. Remember, part of co-teaching is you learning off the other person. One teach, one assist. I've seen this work really, really well, where one teacher takes the lead and one teacher is assisting. Maybe they're assisting 4 or 5 students as a special educator, maybe. One of the drawbacks with this is you can't always have the same person assisting. Remember, it's about that balance. So maintaining that balance, and students have to see that balance. And also, you don't want to create a dependence for students on, oh, I don't have to think because I'll just ask the teacher and they'll do the thinking for me, and I'll just, pretend I don't know it until the teacher tells me exactly how to do it. Students are very, very good at doing that. So there's the 6 different methods. So before you go in, what is going to be your base method that you're going to use maybe 90% of the time, and at different times, what are you going to do? Are you going to break in? Are you mainly going to use teaming, like this one here, the fifth one there, and then every now and again you're going to break into alternate teaching, where one teacher might take the bulk of the kids, and another teacher might take some of the kids for some remediation work or some extension work. Should still be on the same topic because you still want the kids to learn from each other. No point taking the good kids out and then that second level of kids never hear that good thinking, the good strategies that those top kids do. So um, just be careful with this. It's not about streaming and always taking the good kids away, because we want those good kids to be explaining their thinking to the weaker kids. And if we're doing problem solving, it's about their solutions. Thanks.